Mick Cronin pulls a 7'3" rabbit out of his hat just in time for UCLA basketball. The LA Galaxy worked to rebuild their roster on the fly, and Paul George admits the Clippers feel like the little brothers compared to the Lakers. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is August 4th, 2023. I'm in a tremendous mood because in a couple of weeks, my work assignment out in Oklahoma is done. What also makes me overjoyed, we are adding more new subscribers. Thank you for joining the Angeleno Familia. I appreciate all of you. Now, if you like being in the know about LA sports, click-clack the like button. Click-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. Spent a good amount of time yesterday reaching out to the people who reached out to me. Look forward to hearing from you. Now, before we go through the news and the notes, a look at the scoreboard. Freddie Freeman hit his 22nd home run yesterday. That tops his entire total from last year. Dodgers sweep the Oakland A's, which, by the way, they should be doing. They win last night 8-2. Meanwhile, today, a little bit of an upgrade in terms of opponents. The Dodgers get on the bus. They go down to Slum Diego to take on the Padres at 6:40. Bobby Miller is 6-2 with a 4.37 ERA. Yu Darvish, 8-7. Former Dodger, of course, 4.53 ERA. The Sparks take their 2-game losing streak to Washington. That game is at 4. Now, if you were like me, you weren't just scratching your head. You were kind of like banging at your temple, trying to get your brain to kick in and make sense of college basketball recruiting out in LA. I mean, it was a bizarro upside-down world. USC was totally crushing it. And players from last year's UCLA team were just leaving Mick Cronin in droves like the man had leprosy or something. I couldn't explain it. I don't know anybody who could explain it. But having said that, Mick Cronin maybe took that a little personally because he landed a 7'3" Spaniard who is projected to possibly be a lottery pick as soon as next year. 18-year-old Ade Mara. The Spaniard, hey, they're obviously drawing comparisons between him and Pau Gasol. This is a terrific move for UCLA on a variety of fronts, not the least of which is on the defensive end. They were bringing back Adam Bona, one of the few UCLA players from last year who was coming back. Bona is a defensive guy down in the post. He's 6'9", though. You pair him up with the 7'3" Mara, I dare you to drive the paint. I dare you to do it. And I say this as a USC fan. It's amazing. Now, granted, the kid needs to get a little stronger because he is only 18. But man, with that move, I don't want to use the Twin Towers reference because that has been driven into the ground over the course of decades. But straight up owning the paint. And I tell you something, it leads to a really compelling angle when UCLA meets USC. And it's not just because the Trojans were the ones with the top 5 recruiting class going into this year. It's because while it is true that the Trojans have a center in Vince Iwuchukwu, this recruiting class coming in, the USC roster, generally speaking, is built around guards, right? You're talking about Boogie Ellis. You're talking about Isaiah Collier, Bronny James. Remember him? You're talking about 3 guards who think they can score on anybody, trying to drive the paint against UCLA's interior. Sign me up to watch that game. Absolutely. Absolutely. Meanwhile, the LA Galaxy executed multiple transactions over the last couple of days in an attempt to rebuild their team on the fly. Everybody who watches this channel on a regular basis knows I'm a Galaxy supporter. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not hating on the moves. I'm just a little skeptical. You may recall that they lost multiple players. 2 players that they lost, by the way, were captains of the team. And they lost them all to season-ending knee injuries. This was a roster riddled with holes. So yes, the Galaxy were addressing these holes, but I'm not sure all of them fill what the Galaxy needs. One that I do believe is a good idea, you had defender Martin Caceres, he blew out his knee. So it figures that incoming Japanese national defender Maya Yoshida would immediately fill that role. Both of them are center backs, for example. Both of them know how to be physical inside the box. I would say that it's a literal 1-for-1 change. So I'm very much in favor of that one. But then you talk about the others. You talk about Michael Barrios from the Colorado Rapids. He's a forward. More accurately, he's a winger. I'd be lying to you if I said I like that move. I really do. I really think I would be lying. Look, Barrios, before he went to Colorado, played many years for FC Dallas. And there was a time when I spent a lot of time in Dallas. I have seen a lot of FC Dallas, particularly with Barrios there. He's quick. He also can't shoot. The Galaxy need goals. He can't shoot. I'm sorry. He's coming from Colorado, which was the lowest scoring team in MLS. The Galaxy need goals. They don't just need speed. They don't just need depth. They need goals. They need it. He's not going to provide it. They were the lowest scoring team in the league. Now look, if you want to say that his speed is going to create opportunities for the other forwards of the Galaxy's 4-3-3 alignment, I will listen to that argument. I'm not saying it's a horrible move either, especially when you consider what they gave up. Just one draft pick and $50K? Who pours through the mock drafts for MLS? Nobody. Because the draft in MLS doesn't matter. The Galaxy didn't give up squat to get Michael Barrios. They need goals. He can't shoot. I can't stress this enough. A lot of arguments could be made to be spun to spin this. I'll listen to them, but again, they need goals. He can't shoot. That's my counter argument to everything. Finally, by the way, Barrios, if anything, is going to be a reserve. Do you see him replacing Douglas Costa or Tyler Boyd at winger right now? No. Finally, LA picks up midfielder, another one. This guy did come directly from FC Dallas, Edwin Cerrillo. The Galaxy are already deep at midfield. So again, yeah, you do want to replace players that get injured. Yes. Can these players make some sort of a long-term contribution? Again, yes. But who shoots? Who shoots? Because if nobody can shoot and score, then I don't think it saves the Galaxy season. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'll listen. Paul George said the quiet part out loud, which is, I guess, is the point of a podcast in the first place. Quote, I talked earlier about how we share a spot with the Lakers at crypto. We share that space there, and it's a weird dynamic because we go to the weight room and Braun got his bleep. Braun's got his bleep with his logos on it, and it just feels like it's the Lakers. It feels like we the little bros over there, unquote. You've been there for 4 or 5 years, and now you just figured out that the Clippers are the little brothers? I don't think you're a dumb man, Mr. George. It took you 4 or 5 years to figure out that the Clippers are the little brothers? You didn't see the banners, the 17 banners up in the rafters? You didn't see the retired numbers up in the rafters? Crypto.com arena is more of a hockey arena than it is the Clippers' home. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad you finally got the message. It took you 5 years. Dude. I'm glad you learned. Sometimes it takes a while for me to get messages through my thick head. I get it. D'Angelo Russell, by the way, didn't exactly do himself any favors on a podcast either. He went on the podcast for noted Laker hater Patrick Beverley and went off on fans who criticized him last year. Quote, I don't understand. F I gotta do, Pat. What y'all want from me? I shoot 30 from 3, 40 from 3. What y'all want? You want me to win a game in the last 2 minutes too? Unquote. Yes, we do. We do. You should have learned this the first time you were playing for the Lakers. I don't understand. These quotes basically underscore this whole concept of how generations my age think that the newer and younger generations are entitled. When you play for the Lakers, the standard is not your percentage from behind the arc. It's banners. It's rings. It's did your number get retired up in the rafters? I mean, for Pete's sakes, what you got to do, you can ask other Lakers what you got to do. Ask big shot Bob Orry what you got to do. He can shoot from behind the arc too. The reason that he's revered, he's got rings. That's the point. Now understand, if you just want to be a professional basketball player so that you can, have people cheer and you can have people cut fat checks for you, if that's your kink, then go for it. But don't be frustrated when you play for a franchise that is known for world titles and be confused why you're not getting universally adored when you don't win world titles. For Pete's sakes, if you just want the fat check, there are many other teams in the NBA that'll be happy to cut it for you. But they're not looking for the ring. Jeannie Buss and the Lakers front office are looking for the ring. They're trying to top the Boston Celtics. That's what the F you gotta do. D-Lo. Former NBA player Terrence Williams, who briefly, by the way, played for the Lakers G League team, was sentenced to 10 years in the pen for defrauding the NBA health and welfare plan out of $5 million. I don't know if he was in the courthouse for sentencing because he's already in jail for allegedly threatening witnesses in the case. And man, that gives me a warm fuzzy right here. Right here. Kind of like watching those old school Disney movies where you're trying not to like choke up in front of your significant other, or watching Old Yeller threatening witnesses in a federal case. Man, that warms whatever passes for my heart. A couple of days ago, I expressed skepticism over free agent addition and a former lottery pick named Jackson Hayes because somebody suggested he could be a starter for the Lakers. The idea is that you replicate the Lakers' 2020 championship team, like when they had Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. They would start one of those guys at the 5, shift Anthony Davis over to the 4 because Davis doesn't want to take the pounding underneath the rim. Now, to be clear, the Lakers tried to replicate that last year too. That's why they signed Thomas Bryant. That's why they signed Damian Jones. The Athletic, for its part, tried to go through all these analytical reasons as to why Jackson Hayes wouldn't be a good idea to start at the 5 and have Anthony Davis at the 4. I don't have to go through all the analytics. I can just give you a very easy explanation. Jackson Hayes is arguably the 10th best player on the roster. 10th. You go through that Lakers depth chart and you try to tell me where I'm wrong. Where is Jackson Hayes qualify as a starter? And by the way, if he did qualify as a starter, this particular roster is stacked at power forward. Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Taurean Prince. You're not going to start one of those guys so you can put Jackson Hayes in the starting lineup? He's going to outplay them? I don't think so. I really don't think so. The fallout from the Major League Baseball trade deadline continues. Now, it's beyond letter grades for the teams, and it's beyond, this team won and this team lost. There comes other analysis. CBS Sports listed 5, quote-unquote, under-the-radar additions. Guys who could boost the team, just not necessarily steal the show. Dodgers starting pitcher Ryan Yarbrough made that list, coming in from Kansas City. Now, a viewer and I chatted about that deal a little bit, and I'm not saying this to clown the guy, because he actually raised good points. I just want to bring it up to you. He thought that it was silly to think that a guy who can't hit 90 miles an hour is a clever idea, as I put it. And yeah, the viewer's right. Yarborough can't hit 90 miles an hour. But what he does do is he excels at getting people to swing at bad pitches. And my point was different. My point was not that you pair him up again with Clayton Kershaw and Julio Urias. My point is you put him in at the 5 in the rotation, and theoretically, as long as he's better than Bobby Miller, the Dodgers get more wins and keep hold of their playoff spot. So theoretically, both the viewer and I might be simultaneously right. By the way, the Belcher report called the Yarborough trade a potential steal. Former Dodgers pitcher Rich Hill will make his Padres debut Sunday against his former team. That's awkward. Yeah, I would even go so far as to say, as not since those 6 middle-aged creeper stepdads last year tried to rap about the Padres, have we seen something so cringe. That's what's in. JD Martinez, the DH, says, quote, "I can't even walk," unquote, regarding his mystery injury. They don't even know what's wrong with him yet. That's suboptimal. Finally, after a year of speculation, Jose Cifuentes is finally on his way to Europe. The LAFC midfielder is joining Glasgow Rangers. The Rangers pony it up for the guy to join right now, so it is all official. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that LAFC is screwed, but that is a huge loss for their midfield. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about USC versus UCLA in basketball. Talk to me about the Galaxy's rebuilding their roster on the fly. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.